awareness, acceptance, adventure. Join us on April 11, 2026 from 1:30 p.m. to 5, double p.m. to 14. I'm talking. Disabilities, the proudest personal experience and truth, the heart of testimony from a parent, counting the journey, raising a son with a disability.
That's how others speak.
Joseph,
Yeah.
we are on now. Do you want to tell people that we are trying to gather?
Okay.
I'm going out to see that.
Yeah. But you're on mute, so you have to unmute yourself.
I'm right there.
You want me to do it?
We're starting now.
Yeah. But
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to our third annual Autism Awareness and Acceptance event here in the DMV community. I would like to take the honor to welcome our members that are online. Our guest speaker, Andrew, nice to see you. We have so many people online. So the event will be starting in a few minutes. We are still waiting on a few logistics to be here, but we'll be starting in a few minutes. Just bear with us. Andrew, you're saying something?
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's an honor to be able to just talk with everybody and to share some of my experience. Looking forward to speaking with everyone.
I will introduce Andrew at an opportune time. Andrew is my co-worker. He will be talking to us about, he's amazing. And there's a reason why Andrew was invited here. I've worked with Andrew for a long time, and Andrew uses music in the population we serve. And I was so mesmerized by how he is able to handle the students we serve. So Andrew will give another opportunity to tell us a little bit more about what he does and how he does it when the time comes. And you bear with us, we will be starting in the next few minutes.
subscribe to the motion gratification leadership is the plan of God. We've done everything that the Lord says upon us, the leadership that is the direction to the Father and the people and the new grace and the community. We have a lot of people online watching us in Uganda, and as you know, it's big time in Uganda. Our presenter, the first presenter, Andrew, has an event. I am going to give him the opportunity to start as we wait for other people to come. I will give you Andrew an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us what you do. Then we start the presentation. Thank you so much. And we'll thank you.
There we go. Just a little bit there. I can't hear you guys very well.
But we can hear you well.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And especially from your home.
All set to go? Yes. All right, so yes, thanks so much again, everybody, for the opportunity to speak to you guys, and just again, like Joseph said, to kind of share my experience with teaching music and specifically teaching music within the autism community. So I've been doing the music program at Deborah Cares at Downtown for over 10 years now. I come every other week, twice a month, and it's really, for me, been a very enriching thing and very a great joy in my life to be able to share my passion and my love for music with all the students and the staff at Deborah. And I always feel a lot of energy when I'm coming in to play music there. And I love just kind of feeding off that energy and trying to bring that energy and just trying to leave everybody feeling happier than when I arrived, no matter how they were feeling when I arrived. Hopefully just a little bit happier, a little bit more joy. So just kind of wanted to get into how music connects with us and what it kind of specifically within, again, the autism community. But starting with kind of this idea that you hear a lot that music is the universal language. There's a universal language of music, and that's something I think about a lot and what that really means. And for me as a musician, I make my living playing music, whether it's playing music for the students at Deborah or playing at more like adult settings. I was playing at a country club up in Fort Washington last night. I was playing, doing weddings and cocktail hours, that sort of thing. I do children's music sessions at different schools and libraries and daycares, all of these different music sessions, but I always genuinely approach them, for me, with the same goal, the same mindset, is that I'm trying to connect everybody, and I'm trying to connect myself with the people that are listening and with the audience. So, yeah, I guess specifically at CARES, the way that that kind of shows itself, the way that I'm really trying to connect with people, as far as even just getting conversation going and building the communication skills. So a lot of what I'll do is interactive songs that I'm trying to get students involved, whether it's kind of calling stuff out or even just moving along, whether it's dancing or shouting out suggestions for different things to do throughout the song. So really promoting communication skills that way through just the interaction of the song itself. Also is using the instruments to kind of build this sort of joint or dual attention span where we're maybe singing and focusing on the visuals of the music, but also using our motor skills to kind of play shakers or tambourines or drums or a lot of the different instruments that I bring in, just to kind of get everybody involved with some of the fine motor skills and that dual purpose of kind of enjoying the music, just visually and stimulating that part of our brain, but also stimulating the part of our brain that's getting us moving and hopefully getting some of that energy out. So, yeah, just another aspect of playing is, it's that physical aspect, but also the emotional aspect and the that connection that I guess you get through playing music. And again, I've been doing it at CARES for so long that I know so many of the students so well, so many of the members of the staff so well that it really does feel like coming home every time I'm there, and that routine and that steady cycle of knowing that I'm going to be back and knowing that we're going to have music today, and music is at a specific time of the day, I think is a really positive way again to kind of build that sense of community and sense of friendship, because it really is, I feel, a lot of just friendship with the students and the staff that CARES, and for a lot of the audiences that I get to play for and have the opportunity to perform for. As far as the other kind of emotional aspects of kind of that music can bring to us, I know for any audience, but definitely at CARES, sometimes there's high emotions that make the students are having a rough day, and they're feeling just extreme emotions, whether it's sadness or anger or fear or whatever it is, whatever emotions that a student is feeling that is negative emotions. Music in a lot of ways can be used to kind of bring us back to that more of a comfortable center, especially through using kind of slower tempo music and meaning music that is almost more like a lullaby. That sort of slower music can really be helpful. Again, centering us and bringing us back to the positive emotions and letting us kind of break free of the negative ones. Just checking if you guys still hear me.
Yes.
Yes, fine, cool. This range has changed for me. I wanted to make sure everybody's still good. So, let's see. I think I mentioned a little bit about just kind of the structure of knowing that I'm going to be coming for music every 2 weeks, knowing that there's a specific time of the day when the students are coming for the music and that they're going to get to come enjoy the music and I'll get to see them and all that. I know that structure is really helpful too, and just sort of establishing that routine, which is just really helpful kind of on an emotional level and centering us. So I guess kind of the last aspect of kind of that I wanted to touch on that I think is kind of the biggest focus of my music sessions is the sensory regulation. That's kind of what I guess I touched on that a little bit here as far as kind of centering your emotions and all that. As far as like rhythmic grounding, which would be kind of the idea of individuals with autism are known to excel with really detecting these music structures and specific rhythms of songs, whether it's a verse, chorus, bridge structure of the song, or the note structure, or melody patterns, and finding and hearing these repeated structures within the strong songs can be very comforting for anybody, but definitely individuals with autism that again are especially good, generally speaking, at picking up those deeper rhythms and deeper patterns in the songs. Let's see. Another big thing I like doing at Devereaux is having the students join me on the piano. Usually I'm up playing guitar and singing in front of everybody, but a lot of times I'll switch over to the piano and have students join me at the piano, and we'll improvise, meaning we'll just make up the songs as we go. I kind of play some chords, and I have the students add whatever they want to add. No wrong answer. Whatever you play is good to go. It works with the song, and we can really listen to each other and sort of build the song together, build that improvisation together. And that really is my favorite way to connect with students. It's a very one-on-one thing, so I know if I have a big group of students, it's maybe I tend to play more guitar and that way I'm addressing the entire room at once, but having students join me on the piano when we're doing that kind of one-on-one improvisation is really just a great way to connect, and we can really look each other in the eye and feel the changing dynamics, changing emotion in the song, whether we're getting faster, getting more intense, or slowing down, and get softer, whatever it is. That's something that I really find, the students at Caris have just been so receptive and so emotionally attached, or not attached, emotionally connected to me and to each other, that we're able to pick up nonverbal communication, just hearing the changes in dynamics of the songs, being able to adjust our playing to match that. Another big thing is even just kind of this connecting of the auditory process, the idea of kind of connecting the sounds we're hearing with the sights that we're seeing. So seeing somebody playing guitar, playing piano, or even seeing somebody really sing. And when I'm playing, Joseph will tell you how often hopping around or dancing, I have a tambourine attached to my foot, and I'm really getting into it. I'm really moving, and I'm trying to emote when I'm performing and playing music for everybody. So that, I think, is a really important part too, of just sort of connecting the sounds that we're hearing with the sights that we're seeing, and being able to realize that that's what this music is, whether it's the music I'm playing for them right there, or music we're hearing at home, music they're hearing in a show, or a movie they're watching, or on the radio, wherever they're hearing music, being able to connect it. This is created by other people playing instruments and singing their heart out, and just having that passion and love for music. So, those are just a lot of the things that I focus on at Caris, just trying to, again, get the physical aspects, get everybody moving, those fine motor skills, the emotional connection of playing together, feeding off each other's energy, especially when we're improvising together, the idea of that steady schedule, steady routine, that really, I think, also is helpful for all of us, but certainly individuals with autism. So, I guess I was hoping to kind of open it up and see if there were any questions, see if anybody had comments, questions, just anything at all. But really, I mean it when I say that playing at Devereaux has been like one of the greatest joys of my life. I'm so thankful to be connected with that school and the staff and students there, and to have been able to do it for so long and really build these relationships over a long time. That's the sort of thing you really, as a music teacher, it's the sort of thing you really pray for. You really, just that's the ultimate connection to be able to have in such a long term like this. So, Joseph and all the staff at Devereaux are just the absolute best. I mean, I'm so thankful to be connected with you guys. So, let's see. so if anybody has any questions or comments, I'd like to open up the floor to that.
Thank you, Andrew. We have a question.
Yes, hi Andrew, thank you for this information. So I have a question for you. Apart from the piano, I heard you mention piano and guitars that I see in the background. Do you have any other technology that you use to bring up, musical gifts in these, autistic children?
As far as technology, not what we mean by technology, right? Like as far as if the piano and the guitar counts as technology, I do really try to have that idea of connecting the sound with the sight, being able to see me playing the guitar, see me play the piano. I do like bringing in different instruments of the day. I like bringing in, also a didgeridoo, all sorts of different percussion instruments. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones I've brought in lately. All sorts of different instruments that I can play and demonstrate for students to really just show this wide variety of sounds. And again, hoping to kind of connect that all these sounds that we hear in music, we're just in our day-to-day life, they're coming from instruments, coming from these things that they're able to see and hopefully make that connection. So even maybe kind of a more kind of technology-based way, the way they're thinking of kind of modern technology, I have drum loops that I have on my phone that I use when I'm playing piano with students. I have basically I have a speaker in my phone that I can hook up and get it playing so that there's a steady drum loop playing. So I'm playing the piano, the student's playing the piano, and there's a drum loop. So it really feels more like a full band at that point, right? When we have two different individual piano parts and the drum beat going, it's more just like a full band. But yeah, it's really most, for me, that's a lot of the technology, so I guess I would say. But yeah, that idea of really bringing in as many instruments as I can to help make those connections of the sounds that we hear with the things that we're seeing is a big part of it. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. I have one
Thank
follow-up
you.
question. One follow-up question. So what are some of the challenges that you face, while interacting with these students?
Sorry, excuse me, one more time, it's a little
What are some of the challenges that you face while interacting with these children?
I think I always take a very individualized approach. Every student across the board, whether it's the students that I'm playing for at Deborah, or I teach guitar and piano lessons, individual guitar and piano lessons. I do, again, children's music programs. Whatever I'm doing, I really try to take an individual approach and view every student as their own person, and then trying to make that connection with them personally. Some of that is a challenge, that just in itself, because finding that path to the connection is not always straightforward or clear. And again, it's definitely not always the same for every student. Certainly not all the students that I've got to know and play for at Deborah. I think just going into it, knowing that there isn't this finish line that I'm trying to get to in this end goal of again, overall I'm trying to have everybody feeling a little bit happier. Hopefully that happens, but I know that doesn't always show itself in the most clear ways, and I think just having the expectation of that everybody's going to be receiving this and kind of participating differently, and or not all. And sometimes it's just kind of students just having a tough day, or just not feeling it, and wanting to connect with other people. So I get that. But again, music is such that idea of the universal language is such a universal connecting thing that there almost always is a way to connect with somebody through music. So yeah, but no. So I think that's my biggest challenge in class, is sort of accepting that it might not be, getting as much as a positive effect as I might like that. But again, that's just everybody's individual kind of what you bring into the music session. I think has a lot to do with that. So yeah. But hopefully everybody's always thinking, a little more positive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I also have a question for you. So thank you so much for all the information you've shared with us. What my question, because I know you're located out of state, do you know anybody that provides similar services as far as the music is concerned within our area here? And if you do have any references, I know I don't want to put you in the spot right now, but if you do have any recommendations, would you share them with Joseph so he can share them with the group?
Unfortunately, I do find that, I know that there's another friend of mine who has, I have a friend who has a degree in music therapy that was local, and now he lives in the southwest, a little bit in the Michigan area. And I don't know as many people. I don't know really anyone else other than that that's doing it, doing music the way that I'm doing it, kind of as a full-time job like this. So yeah, the way that I started with CARES was a really kind of unique thing. I was doing music with a toddler music program, music for very young children, and through that program, I got started with CARES, but pretty quickly it was like, this music is not, the students at CARES aren't receptive to that, that music. They were looking for more age-appropriate music and just more music they could interact with, in different ways. So it's just, I stopped doing it through that music program within a couple of weeks, and then just continued doing it on my own. And again, that is, so the initial connection didn't really work out, but that was what established the connection. That's what led me to doing the music at CARES for the past, again, decade or more. I think even maybe 12 years when I've been there. So, I think that idea of maybe a children's musician or somebody through a library. A lot of the music sessions I do are through libraries, so I would maybe consider reaching out to some of the local libraries and seeing if there's anybody who does music there, and seeing if they would be interested. Because I think really just the most important thing is at least for me, is the enthusiasm and the genuine passion that I have for music. There's a lot of ways I think you can approach doing these music sessions, but I just want it to me just that genuine desire to connect with every individual person that I'm playing for is kind of the driving force for me, and I know that's there are going to be different people who kind of approach it differently, but I think that would be a place to start. Checking some of the local, with some of the local libraries to see if there are any children's musicians that play there, and see if they would be interested in doing any sessions for the. Is it more for schools, sort of similar to CARES, or is it more just individuals with that with the music?
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that wonderful presentation about music. In case of any recommendations, I will bring the recommendations to you from Andrew, if not Andrew. And what do you think? You can extend your scope to Maryland. I was telling the community that you can extend your scope to Maryland, or you can give us recommendations that are close to this community. Did you hear that?
We provide services in Maryland.
I was saying you can provide services in Maryland as well.
Yeah. I don't know and have any recommendations specifically for Maryland, unfortunately. But yeah.
And in case people want to contact you, do you think you can provide services in case they need you in Maryland?
Definitely, I would love to do that, but that's something I will have. So again, I love trying to share, what I do with anybody who's willing to, have to do it. So I would definitely consider it. It is, the timing of kind of striving and all that would the challenge. But so I don't know if it would be. Depending on kind of locations and all, it might not be something I would be able to do regularly, like I do for Denver over there every couple of weeks. But for individual events, I definitely travel. All over. I'm actually planning an event in Maryland late next month. So it's like I'm happy to travel for individual events, but I think we're scheduling kind of a bi-weekly thing like that could be a challenge for that distance. But
Thank you very much, Andrew. I will share your information at an opportune time. I don't have a business card from you, but I can get some business card from you in case someone wants to service it at an opportune time. Thank you so much for.
Distance is doable, but I think just making a regular for individual events, I think that would be something I would be very interested in. So keep me in mind, and the overall message that I try to communicate is just that idea of music being a universal language that we can all find connection through, and we can all find positivity and peace through. So. Hopefully I've communicated that, and I'm so thankful again to Joseph and all the staff at Denver for everything they do there, the absolute best, and the students there are in such good hands, and I'm so thankful to be able to experience that school and be a part of it, just the way that I am every couple of weeks, but that's always a very wonderful blessing. So, thank you, Joseph. Thank you all of you for listening, and thank you for your questions. And definitely keep me in mind for any music needs that you may have. So.
We'll have another presenter. He's on Zoom. He's a son, that's the son we've been referring to, and he has something to share with us. Gabriel, I don't think you're on. So the next presenter is Gabriel from Uganda. It's here.
I'm basically in high school right now. I am. Alright.
depression and hypomania. Hypomania is a less severe version of mania, and mania is seen only in bipolar 1. So, okay, I'll start with the depression. I think many of you already know what depression is. So, basically, it's when you're like, it's not just where you start, like, you're just down the dogs, trying to make it. Depression goes a whole lot more than that. Like, do you know how there's stages of depression, by the way? There are cases where you're just occasionally that you're just thinking you're very much like dogs. That's like stage 1. And then that's recorded to me. And then there's stage 4, where you really that, how do I say it? You really just want to go and just jump off a skyscraper. That's stage 4. So, yeah, that's depression for bipolar type 2. It's basically, the depression for bipolar type 2 is worse than bipolar type 1 because it's more frequent and often more severe. You get more episodes than in bipolar type 1. In type 2, that both you wanting to jump over skyscraper because you feel like hopeless, there's nothing you can do about it, you're lost all reason to live. And basically, already, depression, if you have depression, no, it's not only about being sad. I think there's something in your body, something very heavy on your back and head that's pushing you down and down. Like, I think it's simple, like up, down, and how close you are to life. That's basically how it is. I know just a few friends of mine who suffered from depression at the time of my school. But they don't have bipolar disorder. It's just me, the only person I know who has bipolar disorder. Physically, in my life. And then hypomania, bipolar type 2. In bipolar type 2, there's hypomania. This is basically, again, it's a less severe form of mania. In hypomania, you basically have elevated mood. You become very, not very, but you just become very close about you. Like, you always just surround people, or say just stuff, well, just stuff that no one wants to hear. But you do it anyway, because that's all you want. You're fundamental being. No one can think that about you. That's how you do it at that moment. Of just in time. So, what does I think about empathy? I think those three which are the three. You are used to see by the way they do, irritability. But yeah, you also have an increased self-esteem. You might think that because we don't have the person to stay. No. That's when life goes into its grateful. Now you have to deal with mania. What is mania? It's basically hypomania but currently living. So basically you barely think at all to your irritability is now up there. You can't even control the how you speak, by the way, because you won't just come up with your mouth. Now you can talk, you don't want to talk and then just speak with that person's mouth. And then your energy levels are extremely high. Very high, even more so than hypomania. And then also, basically, in anemia, sure, you want that self-confidence. Actually, that self-confidence and self-esteem is so high that you start thinking of this flow as a goal. No matter how many times you get that episode, you still think that you're a goal. Well, you're on the sure you're going to be fast. You still get that one sense of reality, like you get to stick of breakfast. That's how people think you're a goal. But the real side effect of media is how your mind really just turns against you. Now, why do I think that the suicide rate is type 1 and type 2 are different? They do have depression, like, come on, man. Depression is supposed to kill you. Well, mania is just as dangerous as that depression because, let me tell you this, because of mania, you will accidentally, not intentionally, accidentally kill yourself. I don't know this sort guys with mania. That's what they most people like. And they didn't have that much condition. And there's one instance I remember where someone just got a drill and put it in their brain. It's there. Instantly. Yeah. So that's basically mania. Because, yeah, nobody is really yeah, that's basically mania. It is not good at all. It's my thing that elevated energy where you feel like a Superman or something is great. But the third part is the part of reflection just that. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, next is autism. I was grabbing a lot about bipolar, now I go into autism. But bipolar disorder is the one that affects me a bit more than autism because of the depression I just spoken. So that we go to. So, for those who are new to the concept of autism, how do I say this? What explain in a way that even a 5-year-old understands? Because as Einstein said, if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old, then you haven't completely understood that problem. Yeah, by the way, I like this. That's right. I like context. Yeah. What do I say? So, autism, it basically affects like millions of people around the world. It's not hundreds of people. Because lots of people have autism, but they just undiagnosed. So we have a lot of people who just go through life from birth with them without knowing that. Just like we are getting a whole lot better if they had that if they just know that diagnosis that keep their own with. And it's especially prevalent in Africa, where you will not actually see that so. Africa is by the way. If you're working in the rural areas in Africa, where people have like $1 per day, forget about them getting anything at all. No, I never get it, my friend, unless it's income. okay, there's some people, very much thinking, by the way, who think that autistic people are some people or pretty much are very different from that normal, quote unquote, normal. Let me tell you, autism, you're pretty much the same as a neurotypical, just that you have different awards. That's what works. For example, let me say this. When you're autistic, you can have these certain traits that neurotypical don't have. This is one autistic guy so online. He sold up 300 by 300 movies by himself, alone, single-handedly. That's something you will never see a neurotypical doing. That's not the only trait. There are lots of things autistic people do that. By the way, if an autistic person has a specific trait that they're focused on, then they will theories and research on it and dedicate their life to it for as long as they can. So that's why I have to say, oh, but I understand what's autistic. It's not really like, don't get this for him that think that, hey, how much I understand, you are autistic. But how do I think it? Just from the PTA, you pretty much had a common autistic traits. And before every time, yeah, you could very much consider autistic. Yeah, honestly, he had the different school required him to be considered autistic. So yeah, that's why, I have to say, because you are autistic, you're very good at what you do. And it's what you love. Not what you do, what you love. Oh, but I said, love music. That's how he came up with the theory of relativity, general relativity, special relativity. And that's how. I know, man. Okay, my brother. Okay. So yeah, I think that's good, right? I think that word. I just put it this way. Autistic people love what they do, and when they love it, they tend to excel in that field more above even neurotypical. By the way, neurotypical are those who answer that word, like those people have bipolar. Yeah, this kind. And neurotypologists are those who have mental conditions such as autism, bipolar, schizophrenia, etc. Yeah. And because of the need, okay, I'll get to my life now. So, okay, if I was like, what, 7 or 8 years old, I have no thing that I was doing. Actually, like what, 40, and I'm still 40 right now, by the way. That's how that was supposed to happen. After that, 1 month after my birthday. What do I say about this? So you know how Einstein loved physics and created all of those things, right? Me, I love history, political science, and military theory. Those are the subjects I am the one. Definitely, I'll take to my grave. I would love them. But now, until my when I'm like, what, 80, 100? Yeah. So history, no, because I have such a huge interest in this subject, I just knowledge I have to do. People may just go here to do. Yeah. I don't know if I really have a team, but a lot of people like just come to me and go, hey, God, no, what you write, what you say, no one achievement, no one no angel is like you. And I'm like, thanks. But I'm also like, I'd like to be better because, yeah, if I didn't know what it is, so I thought I was like to do the military theory, political science, and history, but these are really things to read about. Oh, I'll get to that picture right away. Yeah. So, in history, I mainly focus on history between the start of the 19th century up to until basically modern day. So what does that entail? I basically study lots of the Napoleonic Wars, the 1848 Revolution, the Crimean War, the Franco-Prussian War, the naval outbreak that led up to World War I, between Britain and Germany, World War I, World War II, the Cold War, the space race, the Iraq War, or the Gulf War. I still study the Gulf War, and that's definitely a good Iraq War, Iraq War that happened. That's but everyone we can discuss about that, we can just it, and I think you're the might want that, yeah. Like, what's up where you know? So, yeah. That's what I love about history and political science. I studied a whole bunch of it. I've studied syndicalism, socialism, communism, especially communism and capitalism, the materialism, fascism, Nazism, monarchism, and Marxism. I think that's it. But I mean, oh yeah, so that's it. Oh, yeah. Wait, how is supposed to go?
Can you hear me?
invite Janice. Janice and I have worked together for almost 100 years. That's our job. And she's very experienced in speech and language pathology. She's a speech and language pathologist. And this is not the first time Janice is speaking to this community. Janice is one of the first people that gave a presentation when the Luganda Academy decided to start this program 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I would say, this sort of that event. And at this point, I do not have any more words to introduce Janice. She can introduce herself. I'll invite her to introduce herself and get them in as what she does.
I'm very loud. I grew up in New Jersey where we're very loud. So can you guys hear me? Yeah. I don't need a microphone. So Joseph and I, we've worked together for 12 years at Devereaux, and I think we've been in the same classrooms the entire time we've been there. And prior to that, I was a teacher, and I come with talking about kids with disability because I worked in all aspects. I've been in hospitals, I've been in early intervention, I've been in public schools, private schools, I work closely with families, and I've gone into the adult world. So I see the perspective from when kids are babies to even when they're adults and like young men and women. So I'm just going to share my experiences, and if you guys ever have any questions so we can make it more back and forth, please just raise your hand. So as Joseph said, I'm a speech language pathologist. My philosophy is I'm very, very pro-family. And I think the most important people, I don't know how many of you are parents, but the most important person in the room at all times is parents, because they're the ones who know the kids the best. So I'm going to kind of start with my early intervention kids just to show you how much I think sometimes parents, you know so much more than you realize. And I think sometimes when you meet professionals, you think they know everything. I can tell you for a fact, we don't. Because the one thing we don't know is we don't know your kids and we don't know your background. And I had this experience with so many families in early intervention. I think it's scary when you have, say, an 18-month-old and they're diagnosed. You get that autism diagnosis and you maybe think of the stereotype of a kid with autism, and you don't know there's this huge range. And you go into a room and you have a psychologist, you have a teacher, you have a speech pathologist, you have all these people, OT, and they're telling you what they're going to do for your child. And I know from the parents I work with, they weren't really asked a lot, well, what do you want? What's important for your family? And this one particular family I work with, their son was diagnosed at 18 months. And the one thing they said for our family is very important that he could speak. They really wanted him to have spoken language. And there was a speech pathologist who said, well, he can't do that, that's too hard. Let's just give him a speech generating device. And my feeling is if you're 18 months old and we give you an iPad, it's so developmentally not appropriate, it's not good for your eyes, it's not good for your social skills, it's not good for anything, they're too young. And by that point, giving them the parents lost the hope of the child ever speaking, because they thought, this is your child's voice, use this. And does anybody in the room have kids with autism? Okay, and I don't know if they have a device, but what this little guy did, because he's still a toddler, it was like, this is a toy, like I'm going to push all the buttons, I'm going to push the buttons. He never used it for communication. So I ran into them, I began working with them, and I said to them, the one thing you have the right as a parent is not everybody gets along. You know, you need so many professionals or doctors or teachers who maybe you're not comfortable with. And I said to the mom and dad, you have the right to say, I'm not comfortable with that professional, just because that professional was initially on your caseload. So I always try to say to parents, you're the advocate, you're the one that knows your child best. Joseph and I see this so many times at our school. We have kids that come in, and I know, Joseph knows, we know they didn't get that good intervention they needed early on. I mean, They walk in our room, we know it right away. So when we have kids who are 19, 20, and the parents say, well, now I really wish we could teach them to talk. That's late. That's really late. But the one thing, I was going to quote Michelle Obama because I love her, but the one quote, and I always share this with parents, the one thing we still have hope. And I share with them, are they going to talk like you and I? Probably not, but they can learn some really important key words that will make them a much better communicator in the environment. Help's a really great word. That could go really far. A hi, a bye. I think one mom, her son was 12, and he said, Mom, I love you for the first time. And that was great for her. She cried. We all did. Because you're like, oh my gosh, she's talking. So I think, I would say parents don't give up hope because we don't know. And for some of the kids Joseph and I work with, they are developing some spoken language. It's not necessarily having a conversation like you and I are having, but it's something. But if they had started, say, when they were 2, we would probably be seeing it. And another thing I would say to parents is our voice is really, really meaningful, and a lot of parents don't understand. I think they don't misunderstand communication. They don't understand there's always to communicate. I'm using my hands right now because I used to work with deaf kids, so I use my hands all the time. But that's a form of communicating. Our voice is a powerful, powerful way to communicate. It presents this huge message. If I was angry right now, you would hear it in my voice. If I was tired, you would hear it in my voice. If I'm excited, and Joseph and I spend a lot of time teaching families. They may not necessarily be using all those words, but that the way they use their voice, they're sharing that they're happy, they're sharing their feelings. And some of our kids, when we question, our voice goes up a little. We kind of go it's called rising intonation, but we're asking a question. And our kids use that voice, so they may sign something like where, say it's where's their iPad, because they all ask for that, but you hear this, where am I? So you hear the intonation and they're asking me for something. They're asking me a question. So I always say to parents, the voice is also their personality. I think every one of us in our room has a different voice, but it can say a lot about our personality as a human being, and our kids get the same thing. So I think it's always important to share with parents. That's what you have to look at, the voice, the communication, and be really, if you're a parent, if they say this is what we think is good for your child educationally, I think you have every right to say, well, that's not really what is comfortable for us as a family. We have a lot of kids who initially, after early intervention, they go right into the public school system. And sometimes what happens, they just may not have the supports, especially people like Joseph who are more in that behavioral aspect. And so what happens is they wind up in our school years later because of the more aggressive behaviors, the behaviors that weren't dealt with early on. So that's why I always say to parents, you guys are the ones that really have to say at the IEP meetings. You're supposed to drive the IEP, not the other way around. And I think what's happening is, because I'm in these meetings, I think the professionals are driving it, and I don't know, because of post-COVID, every meeting we have is Zoom now, and a parent Zooms in, and staffing's always bad. Joseph says staffing's bad, and we're like, okay, well, the SOP has 5 minutes to talk to you, so do you have any questions? And of course, you're like, I don't know, maybe after 5 minutes, and so I think you're also not given the time. So I wish we would go back to that old-fashioned way where we would all sit like this. I know because technology issues that happen to that first speaker. So but when you're live, you have the opportunity to really talk, question, and engage more. And that's the way I think you really get to know all the therapists. I've had kids on my cases for 10 years, and I could walk into a room and the parent wouldn't even know who I was, because we just don't have that same interaction. But I'm going to do pre-COVID. We all knew each other really well. They'd be comfortable calling and, even disagreeing with me. And I'm glad they disagree, because then that's a way to have, have a conversation. So I did take notes, so I just really want to make sure I'm saying everything. Another thing I noticed, so especially you're going to see a lot of professionals. I work with the university. I think Joseph does too. Westchester University, and they have training programs for the teachers and the SLPs in speech. And I find it so interesting with how they're teaching the next generation of professionals. They're not learning kind of like the prerequisites for really working with kids with autism. They're not learning about like typical development. So if you get a toddler, a lot of times I see young kids, they're acting like typical toddlers. It's not because they have autism. It's not because they have hearing loss. They're 2. You know, it's so interesting to see, like, that's what 2-year-olds do. You know, if 2-year-olds don't get their way, they get upset. You know, they may smack you or they throw themselves on the ground. You see that at the grocery store. But that's not a red flag. That's just being a 2-year-old. And I notice in terms of speech and language, they aren't getting this training. If you have a child with autism, it doesn't matter the age, immediately give them a speech generating device, which is a huge red flag. I mean, I should really believe in technology, but I kind of learned the old school way. Like, you work on speech, you work on expressive language, you work on your social skills, and you don't get that with an iPad. So I kind of worry too that they're not getting all the unnecessary training that they get. Do you guys know PACS, the Picture Exchange Communication System? Have you seen that? It started out in like 1985. Real quick, it started in New Jersey and Maryland. So they noticed that all the kids who had autism were put in programs and they were all expected to speak. And a lot of them couldn't. So they basically started using pictures. It was called just visual pictures. And it was an exchange. So you would exchange pictures. So it was called PACS. And it was the way they taught, and you were trained for years. And then it was like you did that, paired with speech, and then you would go into the device. Well, they kind of bypassed all that. And the one nice thing about the PACS was it taught social skills, because I had to look at you. Because if I wanted something from you, I had to walk over to you. I had to get your attention if it was tapping or whatever. And I literally had to give you the picture, and you would say, "Oh, you want water?" And I was looking at you, and then I would teach you, "Thank you." But now with the device, I don't have to look at any of you, and I just, and then I would like tapping water, and you're like, "Oh, you want water?" But you lost the social, you lost the eye contact, and I think that's huge because we're all social. You know, we all look at each other, we all interact with each other, and I really want us to go back to really working on the social skills. And that's what Joseph and I do a lot of our time during the day. So does anybody have any questions, comments so far?
Something online.
Oh, be back.
Oh, yeah. It's very close Actually, he wanted to know if you had a question for him. So I told him that after the presenter, we will give you the chance to ask a question. Any other question?
Hi.
Yes.
So, as an SLP,
Yes.
I'm curious because in education, you come across families that are reluctant to the process.
Yes. All the time.
Yeah. You know, they might feel that it might be too invasive,
Yes.
or their child will be, eventually they'll be okay. What strategies do you have in approaching families in encouraging them to like get their child, or even as a community, what kind of conversations can we have? If we notice something, if we see something as a community and a parent isn't so receiving to getting that help, what strategies do you suggest in kind of bringing that child around to like getting the services that they need?
You know, the one thing I do, and I just from my experience, because I've been kind of working in the field for like 30 years, I first act, it sounds weird, but I act like a human being. I don't come in as like this professional, like I know it all. You know, I kind of come in, we have a conversation, and I ask about the family and the kids, and if they have other children. So it's not like, oh, what's your son? Is he verbal? Is he stimming? Is he doing that? Because immediately I think you get red flags. Because I think they know we're professionals, but I think if you present as like if you're a human and you care, you create a very different environment. And sometimes I think when there's too many professionals in the room, it backfires. Because then all of a sudden, at a family, and she walked into a room and there were like 10 professionals sitting in like a situation like that. And they said, sit down. And she was like, wow, this is like way too much. And then I let the families talk first. You know, sometimes share how you feel. Because it's hard, it's scary. You know, it's really scary. And that's when I brought up the part about communication, when they're like, they're never going to talk. And I'm like, we don't know that. There's all different ways to communicate. So I think by putting a parent at ease and saying we understand, and it's really nice because I've been doing it so long, I can share a lot of stories about kids and what Joseph and I do, and I've done this with all my kids. I had speech therapy when I was young. I couldn't say my R's. If I get nervous, I still can't say them. I kind of need to see me like you, because I can't say my R. But I talk about them as my experience having speech. So I believe my philosophy is speech has to be fun. And it's based on their activities and their preferences. So, you know, when we do speech a lot, it's high energy. It's nothing is drill. Drill's really boring. Kids don't like drill. Parents don't like drill. So I also explain to parents, you know, we make it like a positive experience. They're never just sitting at a desk and it's no flashcards. And when you explain what they do, and I share my experiences and I share how other families felt, and you talk, well, I have really great parents that they can talk to. And these are people have done it. Their kids are in their 20s now. So they get that experience. So then I think initially then they're like, okay, they take that next step. And then, because what's hard, I don't know about here in Maryland, but in Pennsylvania, you have to go to a developmental psychiatrist to get the diagnosis of autism, and sometimes that could take 18 months. But like, we're not waiting that long. We're losing too much time. You know, so like start the process, start with the speech, you know, start with early intervention because you can get that great background. But I think you have to get people that you actually feel comfortable around. As soon as you see the white coats, forget it. You put no walls. You really are, and it's not fair to the family, and it's not fair to the kids. And I think you need to make sure that they actually, you need to make sure they actually ask about you. How are you feeling? How if they're siblings? How are the siblings? And a lot of times when they talk about the kids if they're babies and they talk about things, you're like, oh, that's what 18-months will do. You know, they play that way, or you know, they're smiling. And I think like when I meet the new babies, I'm like, oh my gosh, they use their voice so lovely. Did you hear that? They're cooing to you. They're laughing. They're having that interaction with you. And then I model just like, hey, when you play, do you mind if I get close to you? Some people don't like me to get close. You know, I understand that. But like things like I would say, oh, when you talk to your baby, get close, make that eye contact, be real playful. Use that motheries and fatheries, where you use a really intonation. You coo when you're big, you do that to your toddlers, you do it to the young kids. They love it, and it enhances communication. The more you use your voice and you enhance, the more intelligent it is. And like I call it the keywords. So you highlight those keywords that are really important. Are you happy? You know, do you want to bounce the ball? They're going to key into that and they're going to make eye contact. There's been a lot of studies. The more you use your voice and enhance it, babies, toddlers, they immediately look at what's interesting. If you talk flat, who cares? You know, we all had teachers. As soon as they talk like that, you just, you know, you check that out. But I think you have to start with. That's why we do a lot, I talk to professionals a lot and my grad students, and I say, you have to change how you present yourself. You really do, because it doesn't work. Maybe it worked in the 1960s when it was all about do what I said. It's a different world. Parents run the show now. Professionals don't like to do that. Yeah, and if you like parents have the right to disagree, but you still, it's hard because you have to get them in the right step because it gets better. It really does. And, you know, I've shared with them when we get kids when they're 12 years old, it's hard. Because that's when you have a lot of those pre-existing behaviors that are really hard. But when we start when they're young, it's like night and day. Did that mention? I'm sorry, yes.
To add to that question, you said early detection is key.
Yes.
If you know of a parent, whether a relative or someone who's in denial, but you know for sure that the baby probably has autism that has not been diagnosed, what is the best way to approach that parent to make that next step?
You know, I think it's easier for me because I'm older. And so if you're like a 20-year-old, say, talking to a grandparent or a parent, a lot of times the 20-year-old is going to be like, what do you know? Because you think, where's your world experience? And, you know, so I do talk a lot to their grandmas, you know, who are like, no, my grandson's fine. And, you know, I'll just be like, you know, I'll just say, it's funny, she always says, call me Nanny. So I'm like, well, we're the same age, but sure, I'll call you Nanny. And I'm like, Nanny, I said, you raised your children. And I said, I know you love, I can say his name because you're not, I go, I know you love Nehemiah, we all love Nehemiah, but we really need to do what's best for Nehemiah because she had these dreams for him. And I said, for us to even work towards those dreams, we really have to take these first steps. I said, they're not going to put him, we're going to help him. And sometimes then the mom and dad will be in the room and the mom's going to see someone else said it's hard for some people. I don't know if it's where they grew up. I don't know if it's cultural. I see that a lot in my communities. There's a lot of families from India. And I see it all the time. I think it's just cultural, and it's only with boys. Well, if the boy has the diagnosis, that's not okay because the family look there. And that's hard when you have that strong cultural aspect. It's like we keep talking, we keep trying, but sometimes culture really, you know, really impacts it. And then what's interesting, as soon as they start therapy, and then they see like some progress, then they love you. Oh, that's right, this is great. But I think there's this huge fear, and I think some of them just see it as a shame, like it's an embarrassment. My child should be normal, and that's like, I'm thinking there's no normal. Normal doesn't exist. None of us are really normal, if you think about it. Everybody in this room and everywhere, we would all say something that we do that someone else will look at us like, really, you do that? So I don't like that. I don't use that word. I don't like that word. I don't like typical either, because what's typical? You know, it's like, it's all semantics, but that's really, really hard. And I think you have to use a lot of patience and everything in your trust. You kind of have to be really kind because it's really hard to pull out. Oh, I'm sorry, can I'm like over here because I was talking to you guys and Joseph's yelling at me. But, any other questions?
So I would suggest we take more questions after we hear from the embassy. We have them on our program. Our time here has been cut short, so we're on a quite rush program. So we'll invite a member from the embassy to come and give us a few words here and there before we get to those beautiful dreams and needs. So I don't know who is speaking. We are open.
Can we put the video on for the people online who can speak to?
And we are live on YouTube as well.
Tell Gabriel.
Thank you so much, moderator. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Joy Bakuka from Luganda Academy here in Washington, D.C. Some of you know me, others of you not know me. And I am a counselor, diaspora affairs, a friend with my colleague. Yes, it's just she's the administrative attaché. So when my issues getting to the class administration, she's the one who handles that. And I bring you greetings from Ambassador Rebina Kapondo. She's not able to be here, but she sent us to present her. And thanks you so much for the invitation and for the good work you are doing for the Uganda community, Luganda Academy. This is a noble cause for the country where we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the officials of the Luganda Academy and the specialists in the area of special needs, especially autism. Special needs, for me, I am a parent. I have a special needs child. He is now 15 years. And what I want to encourage every parent, like she said, is that you start nurturing the child as early as you can. And we want to also take these skills that we learn from here, especially what Gabriel said, that back home in Africa, many people might get these cases and they are not aware, parents are not aware. So if you know, if you have experience, let's share. If you are a specialist, please do come home. Come one day, volunteer to talk to your communities, to the parents back home. We want to take these skills so that we can build our nation. Like the nation here, as you have seen, if you have a special needs child, when the child goes to school, they are identified. And there is support, there is therapy. Yes, back home, we also have support, but it is not at the level here. So we need to go live. We need to go live and help our children. A disability, like you said, it's not an ability. They should have quality life. Can I take myself? Can I feed myself? Can I express myself? Can I pursue my dreams? Autistic children are, of course, they are highly intelligent. But we have children with different spectrum that have made it. If a child has issues with mobility, are they getting physiotherapy, speech therapy, all those? And if you are a parent, or you see a parent who is struggling, and probably, like they say, some people have stigma. It is the stigma. Like you don't want to come out and admit to you the embarrassment. It's not your own making, isn't it? It's not your own making. So we encourage you, and we thank you so much, Luganda Academy. We also encourage our other diaspora community organizations to borrow from here, do such engagements for the better of the families. If you have a better community, a better family, and then you get a better quality of life. If the child gets intervention, you as a parent, you get time to also pursue your other goals, especially economically. Back home, you realize that some parents who have special needs, they don't know where to leave the children. They are stuck at home with these children, meaning that the family is impacted in the area of earning, quality of life. So, with those few words, I thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can always ask. Mr. Kevin, thank you so much for connecting. Madam Simon, Madam Rita, we're always together. Thank you. as an embassy, and I want to take also this moment to thank you so much, sorry. We do cultural engagement with the District of Columbia Schools and performing arts, and Luganda Academy students have been coming to join the US students, collaborate. We are teaching them how to dance Luganda difference. It's a very, very good collaboration. And these children, one day, they get to know, oh, Uganda. And that is an impact. People are already knowing Uganda. So let us put our country up. Let us engage further. And also probably from awareness, where do we want to go? You don't want to stop at an awareness. You want to go maybe to the next level to see how can we also collaborate with our people back home, and we see how to support each other. Thank you so, so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Madam Joy. Also, I wanted to let you know, we are in discussion with people in Uganda. We already did the work. We have a network of almost about 200 parents there. We come on that network. So every time I visit Uganda, at least we try to visit different families. So we shall continue. Thanks so much for that encouragement. We shall keep it up, and we shall keep talking about people in Uganda and raising our flag. So anybody has questions for him before we close? Any questions for Capio?
Yes.
Okay.
So Gabriel, thank you so much for your presentation. I wanted to find out, I know that when you're schooling in school, there's a social aspect. When you're homeschooling, how do you socialize? Do you have a home network of friends? How do you keep up with friends from homeschooling?
The thing is, I want to do that. Come on. The main way I thought is supposed to make friends at my age. I'm 14, by the way. Okay. The only way you're supposed to make friends, the main way, by the way, is through school. Physical school. Not homeschooling when your only friends are it's the big men that come here and teach you, or the women that come and teach you. No, I'm talking about the school where you have to hang out with your peers. Otherwise, in my case, if I did lonely, I didn't like when I was in physical school, I was still lonely because people would be accepted more people here. So, yeah, nothing to lose but from school, think of all the stories like this, but I guess seeing people laugh like my kids laugh, all together, that watching the sunset together, but sometimes it can be missed, but at the same time I have my bed right here, and my bed easily is better than all of them. All my friends are confused, but my bed, it makes it out, it makes my life all of it. Because at home school, no any single lesson. After the lesson, I just go to my bed and sleep. Yeah. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Gabriel, for that response. I hope you answered your question.
Yeah, that answered my question, but I had a follow-up question.
We can start getting something, or we can start visiting the table to get something to eat as we listen more to Gabriel's question.
Yes, so apart from, I think you say you love history, that's academic, what do you like to do for like physical exercise to keep you active? And then also with food, do you have any preferences? Are you a picky eater? says, are you picky in eating? And then also, what do you do to keep you physically strong? Like, do you have any preferences in exercises? What do you do to keep you active?
What do I do to keep myself relaxed? What you say, I like to run.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, okay, let me say this. I love to sleep. Why? Because I want to maintain my muscles and people go to hold them. That's it, because the meat I eat is mostly chicken and pork. And when I go to relaxation, or basically, when the also I tell my God, also I tell I'm just on my device, either my phone or my laptop, just searching. I research a lot, by the way. A lot of history, a lot of political science, a lot of different theory, a lot of physics, but if I'm to relax, I just want to is just, I just go in my bed, cover myself with a blanket and just watch my favorite shows.
Thank you, Gabriel, for that response and for showing us what you like, the meat the food you eat. I love meat too, I can tell you that. And that's the questions. I also have a special announcement. During the month of autism, this month of April, we have several presentations from the first week to the last week. So last week we had our first presenter. Next week we shall have another presenter. At the end of this month, we have a breakfast, a sensation breakfast, and we will give a award to a student, a student or more than a student, a child that has been very active in our community. And the parents that have been involved in their kids in the community events. So we have the award and nomination that is still ongoing at the end of the month. So at the end of the last week of this month, we'll be able to present that award. Please be around. There's a sign-up form going around. If you have some time, please come and have breakfast with us to extend the awareness and sensitization and acceptance for autism in our community. Please be sure now. Don't share. We have help. We have resources within our community. We have the professionals that are not going to undermine. They are ready to give you the information you need. Thank you so much for coming and for attending this event. Next year, it's going to be better and better, and this is not going to stop. We're not going to wait for people. We're going to keep helping our communities. Thank you so much. So that's your story. Please enjoy the prize.
Yeah.